Welcome back to the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on this October 14th, 2020. Nothing like Valentine's Day. It's October 14th, everybody, not February 14th, so don't get confused. We can be reached at qsblawoffices at gmail.com or on Twitter at QSB Law Offices. And you can go to our anchor page and leave a message. Somebody leave a message, something, whatever it is. You just do like heavy breathing. We'll accept it. We'll talk about it. It'll be good for
Hate
you.
mail,
It'll be
anything. I
good for
want to
good
hear
for the
hate mail.
economy. Yes, Greg specifically wants hate mail. Talk to him about every time you hear him gulp on the podcast. Anyway, so we have a new client today. The new client is entertainment is bad for you. And I think that we are certainly a living, breathing document of that fact if you consider what we do entertainment. But I wanted to kind of get into the various different forms of entertainment, and kind of do a little list of those right off the bat, and then we can take them on their own merits if we want, or you can interrupt me while I talk about them and just make your own piece about it. But, just so we have more categorization in terms of how we deal with this topic, this client. So we've got movies, TV shows, books, video games, open mic nights, sporting events, comedy clubs, circus, theater, carnival, magic shows, concerts, food festivals, shopping festivals. What the hell is a shopping festival? Travel,
Where was freak
road
shows?
trips, amusement parks, pet shows, extreme sports and recreational activities. I think they're camping in there as well in terms of entertainment. But anyway, so that's a basic list of things. But I don't know what the hell a shopping festival is, for one thing. What
I
is a
don't either.
shopping festival?
Is that
Is
when you go
that is that
shopping?
where they do? Is that where they do the thing where you got so much time and you have to go through the shopping? You got to go
Oh,
through the
like a
grocery store.
Laverne and Shirley.
Or maybe
I
it's
remember
like a
that.
flea market or something. Like that's entertainment. You go out, but it's a festival. Well, how would you define a festival?
A
Something.
comic convention? That could be a shopping festival in a way. All these vendors selling crap.
Yes. I
And
don't know. Maybe just the people who made the list, because I know what a food festival is. It's
yeah.
something that's a celebration of a particular type of food or an
Was flea market on
ethnicity.
the list?
Flea market was not, but I don't know if I would call it entertainment. It could be entertainment if you go to the flea market and watch the people and what they buy,
Yes.
or if you
If
sit
you
there and you make up stories about the people and like what you think they're going to buy.
if you've been to a flea market here in Florida, it's kind of entertaining.
Yeah, what would make it entertaining for you?
Oh, just the odd things A, people sell, B, that people buy them, and then yeah, like you mentioned, C, just the people watching is just unbelievable.
Can you still see Mustache Rides 5-cent T-shirts at these Florida
Probably.
flea markets?
I'm sure. I'm sure you could
Have
find
you
anything you want.
have you been hunting for one of those, Greg?
Hell yeah, I would love one of those. When I was a kid, they seemed to be more prevalent, but every now and then I still see them, and I'm amazed they're still 5 cents. They're kind of inflation proof.
Still a nickel.
Mustache rides are the most inflation proof thing in this country.
I know. Can you get a mustache that's like big enough to actually ride, though? Like a horse. You have to have a horse-sized mustache to make it truly viable. I think.
You know, I
Yeah, you don't really get the concept, do you, Matt?
It's
I,
not.
th- I
It's
think
not like
I
an
think
animal.
I think the people that are offering mustache rides, there's no bottom to that market, so they're just going to stay at that price because it's really not about the money at that.
I think it's all about the
Yeah.
bottom, Brendan. To be honest,
Well, I mean, yeah,
I
it
think that
technically
market
about
is the bottom. Yeah. Whenever.
but the price is not the thing. The bottom is.
Right, as opposed, but the nickel,
Yeah.
I think, is well. At least it hasn't been hit by inflation in any way. It's
Like
still a
Nickelback.
basic. Well, that would be a different type of mustache ride, wouldn't it?
They give
I
you a
think
nickel
so.
back for a mustache ride. They're like, they pay a nickel.
I want a Nickelback mustache ride. Is that wrong?
That's very wrong.
Only if you are have an issue with Nickelback. But does this come under the heading that entertainment is bad for you? So entertainment can be bad for you. I think if you have too much of it, right? But like some of this list, like circus and carnival, sometimes carnivals are really bad for you because often,
Also,
I think often with the carnivals because they tend to be a little lower stage than circus. They tend to have lower safety precautions on some of those rides, and loose
Yeah.
bolts, nuts, and people flying off in directions where they wouldn't necessarily want to fly
And
off.
they rip you off at the boots. They're all basically grifters. All those
So
games.
They're all grifters.
They're all grifters, yes.
Every
I
level.
said it. Sorry to be unpolitically correct, but they're all grifters. Those
So
carnies.
you're an anti-carny, is what you are.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
a
a little prejudiced.
you're a non-geek,
Yeah.
like
So
against the.
I
free
mean,
goods.
the difference between a circus and a carnival is really just the animals involved, right?
Well, you can
No,
have a
it's
circus
different.
without animals. That's what
A circus is more of an entertainment. You
Cirque
sit
du
there, you
Soleil
watch.
is, without animals. That's a circus.
Well,
I
that's
guess.
that's
Yeah,
not
that's not much.
circus. I
That's a
think
ballet.
circus. I think clowns and sawdust and the elephants tromping around and that whole depressed calliope music and all that bullshit. That's what I think.
The
of
elephants
circus.
trampling on the clowns. That's a more
That would make it more
entertaining thing.
entertaining.
And the
Would,
clowns.
not for the clowns. They would not
No.
appreciate becoming pancakes. But that's the type of makeup they put on. So it all, ties in together. Clowns, elephants,
I
pancakes.
think there's definitely a hierarchy
Pancake makeup.
of. I'm sorry.
I've always
to
thought that
interrupt.
a clown is just a transvestite that didn't stop.
I don't know that that's the case. I don't think I've ever seen transvestites wearing full white makeup and giant noses and giant shoes.
That's what I'm saying. It's just a transvestite that didn't stop. They didn't
It kept
stop where
going.
they should have.
Yeah, but if they didn't stop, they would still be in the makeup area working on it to this day.
But you know what I mean.
What do you mean, Brendan?
I mean, didn't stop with the makeup. Like took the makeup to the next level of extreme. Not didn't stop in terms of linear time.
So are you saying that transvestites are bad at putting up on makeup?
No, I think they're fantastic. I think clowns are just, transvestites that didn't stop.
But why would it then just be transvestites? It could just be anybody who puts on makeup that didn't stop.
No, because
It's not like clowns are wearing other gender clothing, right?
Really?
Not generally. Generally, they're wearing.
Generally? I mean,
Generally, they're wearing the
that's
clothing.
non-gender.
What?
They're
This is
wearing
one of the
clothing
most
that's not
edifying
gender
debates I've
specific.
ever heard.
I
This is
mean,
like the firing line.
I mean, what is
Brilliant.
what is a clown's outfit? What gender is that? Is that male? Is that female? Is
It's
that
male.
panda bear?
I think if they're wearing like a tie that's generally associated with male, and there's lots of clowns that wear ties. If they're wearing button-down pants or zippered pants, that's generally associated with men. Not always, obviously.
That's pretty
And there
sexist,
can be
Matt.
the.
Yeah,
Well,
patriarchy.
If I wasn't
The
saying
patriarchy has
generally,
spoken.
if I was saying yes, that's the only way that you can identify them, then yes, that would be discriminatory. But I'm not speaking in that way. I'm saying generally, in a general fashion. Like,
Isn't that how this all starts? Is generalizations?
no, that's how it
slippery
generally.
slope.
That's how it ends. It ends with generalizations and stereotyping. It's how it, became, all the generalities is at the end. It's like everybody is that way, but I'm not saying everybody is that way. You wanted a specificity. Having difficulty with words today. Specificity.
Worcestershire sauce.
It's-
I want Worcestershire sauce.
I can pronounce that. It's Worcestershire. Anyway, but in terms of the clothing being for a particular gender or not, I'm saying in a general sense, people often identify certain styles of clothing with a particular gender. Obviously, that has changed much over the last 50 years, and we blame it all on glam rock, of course. But
No, we're blaming it on the clowns. The clowns have really led this revolution.
so the clowns are the original transvestites, is what you're saying?
Trans.
Kinda. That's kind of what I'm saying, I think.
You're saying the clowns are the original transvestites,
Why not?
and then they dialed it back.
Then they dialed it back and sort of figured it out like, oh no, I don't want to be this. I don't want to be a bozo character. I just want to be a woman.
Uh-huh. But it's only men who are transvestites, is what you're saying?
I'm just saying. Okay. So maybe I should have said drag queen. Maybe that would have been a better.
I don't know if you should have said any of it, honestly.
Probably
But in terms of
Probably not.
where
No,
you're
this is
going with
enlightening.
this,
This
I
is
have no
enlightening.
idea.
what do you mean?
So
Keep going.
are we saying that are we trying to say that certain types of entertainment are bad versus types of entertainment are good, or that
All entertainment is bad.
all
It can
entertainment is
be.
bad?
Yeah, it's all bad, really.
There's a hierarchy, though. There's edifying entertainment, like a great novel or seeing something wonderful that maybe it
Nah,
makes your.
it's all bad, Greg. None of it's good for you, really.
I think
No
reading a
entertainment.
good
You
book.
should have your nose to the grindstone 24/7.
This is the issue. I mean,
But
it
then,
is a waste
but
of
what
time.
happens when work becomes entertainment, though? That's then I think
I've
messes
never
everything
known
up.
that to be a thing.
I think it depends
When
on.
is that?
I think it depends upon the job. I think if you find a job that you enjoy, it can be entertaining for you, and that can work in your favor. And I think a lot of people have created that for themselves.
Yes,
You
that's
know,
true.
they're
I've
not.
had that actually.
Yeah,
My job, I mean, obviously not every moment I consider it entertainment, but I consider my job entertaining always. Whether it's, dealing with, some clients' strange ideas about something, or solving a problem on a website or some sort of marketing campaign or something technically. They're puzzles. They're puzzles, and they're entertaining. People puzzles and technical puzzles. But I don't. Go ahead.
I just wanted to go back to your statement of these strange ideas that clients give you because I got stuck on that point, which is, what are some of these strange ideas that your clients have been throwing at you, Brendan, that you find entertaining? Of course, you don't have to
Let's
name any names, of course, but what would be like a strange idea that caught you there?
Okay, so I have a client that wants to make a series of videos about a subject that no one really cares about. It hasn't proven out to be anything that historically, from a marketing perspective, we've found to be profitable or something that people want to engage in. But
It's like making fish hooks or something?
making fish hooks. It really falls into the category of when you do marketing, there's often a lot of stuff that you do that ends up just being a vanity project of the client,
Yeah.
meaning it doesn't have any actual business value, but it makes the client, the owner, the CEO, whoever, like feel good about themselves, and kind of is a public relations thing for them.
Right.
And oftentimes that stuff just gets silly.
What would be, I just need to know.
I know of what he
So,
speaks.
what's the silly thing? I mean, if you can give not necessarily the exact thing that the person was asking, but something similar to it, so I can get kind of a better clue of what you would be considering silly that one of your clients is demanding that you create for them.
Let's see. A series of videos where the client talks about their childhood.
Oh, and was their childhood interesting in any
Wow.
way?
I guess parts of it. I mean, anyone's life story is interesting to some degree,
Yeah.
but what does that have to do with selling software?
Oh,
Yeah,
I could
that's
see
ridiculous.
a tie-in in terms of you're trying to build a story about a brand and you want to like get people more engaged with that brand. It doesn't have anything to do with the software itself. It has to do with the company because it
Sure.
builds the story of that company whenever you give like a history of it. But yeah, if it doesn't tie into the software at all, that is completely ridiculous.
Right. And or if you build a brand, you build a kind of an Elon Musk sort of brand where a lot of what he's doing is a lot about who he is.
Right.
But if you don't do that from the get-go, and all of a sudden 25 years into running this successful company, suddenly you want to tell your life story, it just comes off as odd.
Yeah. Or a little self-aggrandizing, right? A little
For sure. And then
egomaniacal.
and so then my challenge is to
Tactfully
somehow,
talk them out of it.
well, no, because there's no talking
Oh,
them out of this. It's how to polish this turd so that it does the least amount of potential damage to the brand while and not spending a tremendous amount of time on it because, the sales reps at the software company need me to generate leads that want to buy software that does server maintenance.
right.
Real work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that would be and when entertainment is bad. I think that's a
Yeah,
different.
that is bad entertainment,
That's not entertainment.
but it's entertaining to me. It's kind of like watching a reality TV show, which I find awful. But at the same time, there's a certain amount of like, or one of these true crime things, which I think are great, where you're sitting there watching this, like, wow, this serial killer. And I mean, it's what do you call it? When you see the traffic accident, you look. You know what I mean? It's that kind of entertainment.
That's kind of
I would
funny
like to
because I'm
clarify.
like the opposite of that. I'm not that interested in the true crime stuff, but I'll watch reality television. And Greg hates the
Oh
fact that I
yeah, he
watch
does.
these.
Every time I call him, I'm watching Desperate Housewives of Tulsa or whatever they're called. I don't
There was
know.
a Tulsa one, I'd watch it. But well, for me, those are like National Geographic specials. Whenever I watch the Housewives shows,
Yeah.
because for me, it's like the mating rituals of the shouldn't have been rich. That's essentially what I'm
Oh, the
getting out.
nincompoops.
That's right. It's like what happens when morons get money. That's essentially how I kind of look at these shows, and they also give me a good analysis on social mechanics too, because I'm not somebody from a incredibly wealthy background. I haven't had a lot of dealings with people who live at that particular echelon in terms of money. So it gives me an insight into an arena that I don't have familiarity with. And if I were to, how would I respond? How would I work in that environment? And by recognizing what they find important, what they find the bigger issues for them. Because whenever you take money out of the equation for problems that people have, they then wind up having completely different problems. And so for those shows, since money is essentially out of the equation, they just can spend it like mad. They've got different problems, and that gives me a different insight into that section of humanity. And that's what I find fascinating about those things. That and the fact that they just claw each other's eyes out and they, hate each other for no really good reasons whatsoever.
Yeah.
But then the other show I watch is Big Brother, which is kind of like that in a more dense setting where you have a whole bunch of people in one spot who are doing things solely for money and what they will do to each other strictly for a chunk of cash. It's interesting to see those with integrity just tend to not do well on that particular program. So for me, entertainment I think needs to provide me some learning. I have to gain some type of insight from it to keep my attention on it. Otherwise, I tend to just not really watch stuff that's
I
of
would like to clarify something. Is I think work
okay.
can be entertaining. I don't know if that's entertainment though. That's just edification. A job well done, solving something.
Well,
That's
what's the
not
difference?
entertainment.
What's the difference, Greg, between entertaining and
Because
entertainment?
entertainment is a passive thing as far as the general conception of what entertainment is. You watch a movie, you go to the circus and see elephants killing clowns. It's like it's work. Having satisfaction from work and doing a good job and enjoying it, that's a different
Wait.
thing.
Entertainment is elephants killing clowns.
That's what you
That's
guys.
just like a sound, but I want separate somewhere.
But I mean, I think that's a different thing. That's just living. That's like good for you. You like what you do.
So you're saying
It's not like
the clowns are not being entertained. They
they're
are
not.
the ones doing
No,
the
they're not liking
entertaining
that.
because they're
They're not
working.
happy with their job at the time.
They're not happy with their jobs, Greg. You
Well, they're
really think
getting
so?
killed. Well, they're being stomped by elephants. No, that's a
That's a
that's a
one-time
downside.
job. That's like a
That's a yeah, it's
that's
the
a
downside of the
one-time
job.
hire if you get stomped by the elephant.
But I think that's not
That's the
entertainment.
actual gig. We want to get a whole bunch of people to come in here. We're hiring here at the circus, and here's your one job: stand there and let the elephant stomp on your head. Are you okay with that? We'll pay you
Some of them
afterwards. Are you
survive, I'm
okay? Are
sure.
you good with that?
The
Some will
elephants miss.
survive.
But I think work is a different thing. Like I've had satisfaction at work, and nothing at like
But
Brandon's
the
level.
clowns are working.
They
Don't
are
you think they're
working.
entertained? They're
No, they're
getting
entertaining
entertainment from
us.
too. But you don't think they're getting entertainment as well at the same time?
No, it's their job,
You can't
and
have
if they
both.
if
No,
they
no.
take
I mean,
pleasure at it, good for them. But that's not entertainment. That's just like, wow, I have a normal joy at a
Well, I
job well
think you're
done.
talking about spectating, which is a side of that coin, but it's not the same thing.
To me, that's what I think entertainment is. You're watching an entertainment or experiencing
so
entertainment
so so
passively.
So, Greg, I tend to agree with your point, but let's take, for instance, a subject I know you both guys are just totally into, which is like, say, sports, right?
Oh, I love
I
sports.
know,
What
I know
is
you guys love
sports
it.
again? I don't remember what that means.
Yeah. So for instance, you can watch a football game, which is spectating, as Matt pointed out, and that's entertainment. Or you could go get with some friends and go play some flag football out somewhere, and that's also entertainment.
Yeah,
Although it's
Greg.
I don't know if to
It's
me,
not.
it's
It's
more
not.
than
It's not
entertainment.
work.
It's not work, but that doesn't,
Yeah.
not everything is, like, not everything that's not work is entertainment in my book. I'm just saying the way I define entertainment, maybe it's loose, but sports is definitely fun to play. Even me as a guy who hates watching sports, I've had fun playing football with my friends.
Yeah. Well, maybe the
And
difference is between entertainment and recreation, possibly.
yeah, because
possibly.
camping to me isn't entertainment. Camping is just like, I want to enjoy the world. I want to enjoy nature. It's like, that seems
Yeah,
like different than entertainment to me.
I would agree with that. I don't. I mean, camping is entertaining. I enjoy myself
Yeah,
when I'm
yeah.
doing it, but it's not like watching a movie or reading a book.
You can watch a tent. You can watch a tent sit there.
Sure.
You
See what
could. You
happens
could make a
around the
movie about
tent.
it.
You can make a movie about a tent. It's called The Tent
Yeah.
or Tent in the Woods. It's
I
like,
love that movie.
what bird is going to land on it this day?
Yeah.
Will it be a cockatiel? Probably not. No tents in the rainforest. Well, I guess there could be a few, but I don't even know where I'm going with this.
But I would
So
like to bring back the point that I think some entertainments, there's a hierarchy. Like they kind
there's an
of,
entertainment hierarchy.
there is. There's
Okay,
definitely
what's
some
number one?
entertainment. Like, let's say art. I mean,
Okay,
art is entertainment, right? I mean, whatever, even the highest art form, you're entertained by it, but you also like learn about life. Like reading a good novel, you learn about like, wow, people are like this. I never thought about that. It could change your viewpoint on life, like
do you think
almost
the
like studying
author of a
philosophy.
book could be entertained? They could get entertainment from their own book.
They could be, or just maybe just like, hey, this is my job and I'm enjoying doing it.
They
But
just write books because it's their job. The ones who are doing
well, and they
novels or
enjoy
fictional
doing it.
things.
They're
Yeah.
lucky. They're one of the few people who get paid to do what they like to do. And they are entertained. But I guess what I'm questioning is this use of the word entertaining. Like going camping to me is just life affirming. You're in nature. It's not mindless entertainment where like I'm avoiding the world. Like when I watch a movie or read a comic book, to me that's entertainment. It's like I
Well,
don't want to think about my life. I
let's
want
talk
to be
about your
taken.
adjective. Okay, so your adjective was
Yes,
mindless entertainment. So you toss that in the front of it. So can you have mindful entertainment?
yes, that's what I was trying to say. Like a great
Okay.
novel is very mindful. It teaches you things. You can
Okay.
learn a lot from reading a great novel, like about how people act. And I never met a person like that. I guess some people are like that, even though it's
Yeah, I think
fiction.
I think of all of the passive, if you will, entertainment. I would say that reading is probably at the top
It's
if we have a
fundamental.
hierarchy.
I've heard. I've heard it's fundamental.
I would too. Yeah, you heard about it.
Yeah, I've heard about reading. I heard that it has something to do with learning about
Yeah,
things.
not always.
Yeah,
Sometimes it is pretty mindless. I've read
So,
some pretty mindless books
well,
that were just
sometimes
fun.
fits into many different categories. The word
Yeah,
sometimes. You can have sometimes I eat dogs and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I walk down the
well,
street.
I mean, I
Sometimes I
mean,
fly over it in an airplane.
a movie could be educational or shape your worldview or spark some idea. Um, but it's not necessarily the same as a book. A book takes a little more work. It takes a little more, I don't know, like effort to read a book than it does to watch a
That's right.
movie.
See Dick run. See
well, it's
Jane
also
run.
longer though. It's
Oh, here we
like,
Spot
go. Now
run.
we're talking about dicks. I knew it was going to evolve there.
I was talking about a boy named Dick and a
sure you
girl
were.
named Jane
See
and a
Dick
dog named
run.
Spot. I didn't say eat Dick and run. I did not say
Eat
that.
dick and run. Eat dick and run.
That was the first
Spot
porno I
on
ever
the
saw.
dick. Spot on the dick. I know. I've heard this one.
Spotted Dick is actually a food in Great Britain, I think.
Hmm.
It's
What is spotted dick? I've heard of this.
what is it?
Yeah,
It's
what
It's
is
kind of a
spotted dick?
it's some
it's kind
kind
of
of
a pastry, I think.
I don't
I
remember.
I bet it's a sausage of some type.
No, I
Some
think
kind
it's
of.
kind of a cake.
Hmm.
It's like a dessert item, or certainly a breakfasty brunch item. I don't think
Well,
it's.
I know that my computer that I do my research on is acting up on me. I can't get it to do anything, so I can't answer that question for you, Greg. I can't tell you exactly what spotted dick is. I was going to look it up, but my computer is being
I would
recalcitrant.
like to say, as a prosecuting attorney, I'm going to put on that hat right now, is that entertainment, the way
Yes.
I see it, it can be very harmful. I know this myself because I'm a guy who doesn't like to think about my own life. I'm scared to just sit down.
If
I
you
have to
thought about your
entertain
life,
myself.
you would be
Oh
Oh
yeah,
frightened.
if I
God.
just sat down and contemplated life, I'd be like just start crying probably and slip my wrist. But I constantly entertain myself. Like when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm watching something on my phone on Netflix or a YouTube video. When I'm doing something else, I listen to a podcast. I've been like that way for years, even before the internet. Like I would read magazines
Wait, you
wherever I
listen to
walked.
podcasts before the internet? How did you do that?
No, I said even before the internet, before there was podcasts and
Uh-huh.
YouTube videos to watch, I would always be the guy who I had to walk an hour to work. I'd read a magazine or a comic book while walked.
Uh-huh.
I've mastered that.
Did
I
you
don't
ever run
trip.
into trees when you did that?
No,
Fall
I
down?
got pretty good at it over these. I
Okay.
still do it today. I still read every day when I walk to work,
Yeah.
and I
Signs.
couldn't stand just being like, oh, I'm walking and just stuck in my own brain and thinking, which I probably should. That's not a bad thing to do, but I don't want to. And so I have these distractions. And that's what entertainment can be, just to escape thinking about, like, hey, maybe I can make my life better by sitting down and thinking about it,
So
thinking why it went
entertainment is
wrong.
bad for you because it's preventing you from doing something better with
Could
your life.
be. I don't know if I could have come up with a better way to live my life. If I'd sat and thought, I just get sad. I don't know.
You just get sad that you
Yeah.
couldn't do anything better with your
Just
life.
be in despair. Just be like, oh, I can't figure my way out of this
Oh,
one. I'm
woe is
fucked.
me. There is
Exactly.
no help. There is no hope either.
Yeah. I'm not a genius. So,
I
I
want to
might
be a
not be.
transvestite clown, but I can't.
Yeah.
Can't move myself in that
Could
direction.
be. Well,
Well, I
I
want to
could
get
do the
back to
makeup.
spotted dick. I looked it up. So it can also be known as spotted dog or railway cake. And it's a traditional British pudding made with suet and dried fruit, usually currants or raisins. That explains the spots, and often served with custard. But it's made with suet.
What is suet?
Suet is some, I know it's like a
Animal fat.
sticky substance that they use
Oh,
It's
for
an animal fat. It's
bird
like
food.
lard,
okay.
usually made from like sheep, mutton.
Really?
Something British.
Suet is made from sheep or mutton.
Yeah.
Well, because mutton is made from sheep.
Well, yeah. Okay. Fine.
Let's never speak of spotted dick again. That sounds disgusting.
Oh,
That
wait,
sounds
I love the
terrible.
answer to what suet is because I never knew this before. So it's the hard white fat on the kidneys and loins of cattle, sheep, and other animals used to make foods
Mmm,
including puddings, pastry, and mincemeat.
Yeah.
So it's the hard,
delicious.
but it's the hard white fat on the kidneys and loins.
It's god awful.
I think I
Suet
have a
is-
lot of that in me as well. But
I'm sure I do too. And
maybe
it's
I could
fucking
get
awful.
some of that. I'm gonna have some mat pudding and pastry.
When you die, I want your suet, Matt.
I will
I'm going to turn you into
I will.
suet.
I'll be your suet mill.
We'll
The
make
suet
some
that
spotted
gives
dick out
keeps
of
on
Matt.
the suet gives that keeps on giving is Matt Suet. It's nutritious and wholesome for children everywhere. Anyway, so this went into a very weird direction today. So,
Yes.
welcome to cannibalism as entertainment. So if you eat that guy, you will be thoroughly entertained. But
Our
getting back to
client is very unhappy today.
well, entertainment is bad. So, yeah, I think, as with all things, if you don't take things in moderation, it definitely works against you. Things are bad for you. And I think you can gain something from nearly every form of entertainment that anybody has.
Sure.
You know, even stuff that's incredibly offensive, like dog fighting or cockfighting, stuff like that.
Pornography.
Pornography while dog fighting and cockfighting actually goes across both categories.
Pornography is very helpful to humanity.
It's
There's a lot of lonely
pornography is
people out
helpful
there.
to humanity.
Yeah.
What makes pornography helpful for humanity?
It's a nice thing that it's out there when you're lonely and you can't
Exploitation
have
of
sex.
women is a nice thing.
or men. I don't know what some say. It's even some women say, no, this is my choice.
Uh,
I'm gonna
They
a
get
sex
paid.
worker. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
getting paid.
yeah,
It's a
they are getting,
job.
sticky. It's a sticky job.
It's a sticky
Oh, it's
situation.
definitely a sticky job, and it's definitely, there's a time frame when one can do that job for
Though
sure.
I sound like I'm being flip, I do know, like, I do watch porn still, even though I'm asexual, and it is
So
it
you watch
is very
asexual porn, is what you watch.
yeah. I watch porn where people drink tea and they chat about the weather. It's hot.
They
It's
just
pretty nice.
walk around from place to place reading comic books.
Wow, that sounds
Yes,
incredibly
but I do
boring.
think that yes, I do get there is a power dynamic of porn that is kind of icky and like lots of choking of women, lots of
What?
holding their hands over their head,
Why do you watch
lots
that?
of
Why are you watching that stuff?
that's all porn, Matt. I'm sorry, you can't
That's all
avoid it.
porn? All
I
porn is
think you
That's
can
choking?
avoid the choking porn.
No, that's almost in all of them. There's a little, not like full on choking, just like guys' hands on her neck. All these little signs that I've known dated women who like that stuff. It's kind of this leftover vestige of just the power dynamic of the sexes. A lot of women I've known, I couldn't believe it. They're like, hold my hands while you have sex with me, or put your hand on my neck. And I
Well,
was like,
holding
okay.
their hands is one thing, but holding their neck is a completely different thing.
Holding your hands is pretty rapey, but a lot
I
of
can
women
Oh,
I
you
know
mean
tell.
you
like
mean
that.
holding you mean holding their wrists?
Yeah, oh yeah, Matt. I'm not talking about holding your hands walking in the park. I'm talking
Okay,
about
I didn't know what the hell you were talking about.
yeah, like I've
I'm
had a
not.
lot of women
I don't.
shock me
I'm not.
the things they want me to do during sex where I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
This turned you on.
choking is some light choking is kind of a thing. I've know that
It's a thing.
that's true with girls that
Yeah.
I've dated.
When's the last time you dated someone, Brendan?
The
30
Clinton
years ago?
administration,
No, before the
Just
Clinton
before it was
administration.
the
Reagan.
Carter.
We're talking Bush. But
The first Bush.
We are
One.
talking Bush.
I doubt that it's changed. I don't think that dynamic has changed. In fact, it's probably more prevalent now than it was
It is
back in
because
the.
the prevalence of pornography. I think it
Yeah.
reinforces it.
Yeah, I've never dated, and I dated a lot of people at one point, but I never dated anybody who asked me to do anything like that to them. I had one woman who wanted me to dominate her, and for me, it was just kind of a ridiculous thing in general. I was like, dominate you. She's like, yeah, tell me what to do. I said, fine, paint my apartment. I didn't know what the hell.
Make me a sandwich.
I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you want? I'm like, this is silly. And one woman wanted like handcuffs, and I'm like, okay, so they wouldn't handcuff me. I'm like, fine, put the handcuffs on. So, and I'm like, okay, now what? What are we supposed to
Okay,
do
well,
now? I'm like, what am I supposed to get out of this? I'm like, I'm not getting anything out of this.
Arguably, that's handcuffs is way weirder than putting your hand on her throat. I mean, come on.
No, I didn't get that either. I didn't get the handcuff thing at all.
You're so
Oh,
vanilla,
I thought
Matt.
you were-
You're so vanilla.
I thought you were saying you did have someone who told you that they wanted handcuffs.
No, they did. They wanted me to put them on. So I was like, fine.
That's
put 'em
right.
on. You're
So
right.
that's not weird.
It was totally weird. I didn't understand it at all. That was my
So
point.
did you do it?
Well, I let her put the handcuffs on me, and then I'm like, what am I supposed to? What happens now?
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
She put the handcuffs on you, or you put the handcuffs on her? This
Put
is
it on me.
Ah,
Yeah, I'm not going to put
She
handcuffs on
handcuffed you to
someone.
the bed.
No, it was just to myself.
She just handcuffed you together, front or back.
I got it. I can't even remember anymore.
So you were
I want
drunk.
to see the video. Let's roll
No,
the video
I
tape.
wasn't drunk. I think it was just a strange circumstance, and I just didn't understand it. I'm like, I don't know why this is happening. What's the point of this? So I'm like, whatever.
Entertainment.
I was not entertained. I tell you, I was not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty simple in my voracious needs.
You're vanilla.
I am.
I don't know.
I'm
Handcuffs could be cool. I never did handcuffs, but handcuffs might be interesting. I don't know.
whatever. I don't
I never
understand
did
the
it.
point. I don't understand the point. I don't know what the point of any of that stuff is.
What's the point of any of it? What's
Right.
the point of any of it?
What is the point?
It's
What is-
just missionary, and you cry when you're done, and that's the point of it.
That's it.
Well, okay. The crying when you're done, I can understand that.
Yeah.
And then,
I got
then you
it.
go
So what it's
confess
all about.
at church.
It's all about the crying at the end.
The self-recriminations.
Now I get it. That's what it was about. I just
Yeah.
want to cry. I don't know. I mean, I've just never really been into that that industry so much. So it's never really been a
The
thing that.
industry of having sex with females, or
No, the industry of like pornography. You know.
well, I'm not even
Yeah.
talking about that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
Real
like where
life
a lot of
sex.
these ideas kind of come from, don't they? Is they come from
No,
pornography.
I don't think so.
No.
I didn't necessarily watch a lot of porn when I was a teenager, early 20s. It wasn't as available as it is now, and
Yeah.
girls ask for all kinds of crazy shit. So no.
Look,
Yeah.
what would be other things that they would ask for besides the choking thing? Well, I mean,
Uh,
obviously they want to be dominated because I told her
that both of those two things.
yeah, the handcuff thing,
Dirty talking, I imagine.
Dirty
talking.
talking was
Never,
one. Pushing
never did that.
pushing the head into the pillow, pulling her hair.
What?
Oh, pulling the
Oh,
hair is
yeah.
a big one.
What?
Yeah.
Almost every woman I've had sex with likes that.
Every woman.
A lot of them.
Well, I
Did you
wouldn't
know
say
this
everyone, but
before you
No.
tried it on them, or did they ask you
It
for
was there. They kind of. I felt weird doing it. I'd be like, really? Okay. But I
yeah,
gotta say, it was
I mean,
kind of hot.
I haven't known Greg as long as you, but I really don't peg Greg as the hair puller without being asked guy.
But he just said it was kind of hot. So what do you mean by kind of hot, Greg?
It was kind of hot because we
what
all
does
buy
that mean,
into
though?
these.
What does that statement mean? It's kind of hot.
It was erotic. It wasn't like when the woman asked you to put the handcuffs on, where you were like, "This is silly." Like
Well, I would have
think
said
we
that
all,
was actually I would have had a much different reaction than "this is hot" if they wanted me to pull their hair. I would have been me. I'm not going to hurt you. Is what would
okay
my
then,
response
yeah.
be?
But I'm saying there.
Yeah.
I think sex is all about like these primal cavemen instincts we have, and we can't get. Even though we've evolved so much, we still have them deep in our whatever lizard brains,
I think we have
and
them
we're
in our
like,
loins, not our brains.
well, there's a lot of eroticisms in your brain. A lot of sexuality
I
is in your
just,
brain.
right. I just want to point out that somebody at some point in a creative meeting put a kibosh on the pornography podcast. We've probably spent about a good 5-10 minutes
I
on this
know.
subject.
We're not talking about entertainment at all now. We're just talking about our sex lives.
Well, you brought that into the entertainment category. So
Did
Well,
I?
pornography.
no, Greg.
Not real life sex, just pornography, which is an entertainment.
Right, it's a form of entertainment for some people,
Yeah.
certainly. Yeah, just
Probably
like
the basest of them
no,
all.
I think sports is the basest.
Oh,
Sports is
come
rich.
on.
It goes with more
Jeez.
baser instincts than pornography.
Boxing does, I think. Certain sports, ultimate fighting, I think, is baser. Because that's just violence. You want to see
Boxing is
people
just a
beat the shit
competition
out of
of
each
people
other.
opening boxes.
You want to see people hurt each other.
I don't.
It's like- it's
I
kinda
don't.
sick.
I don't watch boxing. I don't watch whatever wrestling. I don't watch any of those fighting sports because I think they're just stupid. But basketball, football. I mean, there's strategy to that. There's athleticism. There's a lot to be
Honestly,
admired.
I'll watch a boxing match before I'll watch a basketball game.
I agree with. I do like basketball. Basketball is this amazing. I can't believe their brains that they can do all that shit. Like it is fascinating to watch 10 minutes of basketball if it's a really good game. But I don't get that into it. But I'm amazed. I'm impressed that they're. It's like watching great ballet dancers or like just people who are great at what they do. Almost
I mean,
superhuman.
it's not, right. It's not even for me. It's not even limited to like some sort of masculine like football, basketball. I mean, gymnastics is incredible. It's an incredible sport. I love watching it. I mean, when the Olympics come on, I always watch gymnastics, Winter Olympics. I watch the ice skating stuff because it's just amazing that you can train a human person can train their body to do those amazing kind of things that are almost superhuman, and you get to watch it.
Yeah.
That to me is cool.
Like the curling, those guys. God, so impressive.
No, curling isn't really part of that.
Curling is a subtle sport.
My
Very
favorite one is
subtle.
the speed walkers, those guys who walk really fast
Speed walkers.
and they can't take their feet off the ground too much. They
I've
look hilarious.
never thought that bobsledding or the luge is a sport. They're just like putting some unwitting victim in a box and like sending them down an ice chute. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you kind of wonder where the athleticism is with things that just involve gravity.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Or
I agree
NASCAR,
100%.
for example.
It's just depends. Well,
NASCAR's-
I think NASCAR might have more athleticism than the luge.
Or just
Oh,
skill.
It probably
I don't know
has
about
certainly more
athleticism.
skill, but
Well, upper arm strength. They're great.
well, no, there's a whole thing to like the drag and and getting behind the right car and how you make your passes. I mean, I've listened to it because I live in
Yeah.
Florida and I have friends that are into this shit, and so I've been forced to kind of like sit there and go, and they'll explain it to me, and I'm like, okay, I guess I can appreciate it, but I don't see it. I just see the cars going.
Now you know how I feel about basketball. Similar
No,
to how you feel about
It's so
NASCAR.
different.
You're telling
I'm
me that
saying
it isn't.
that's similar to how I feel about it. Is how you
But
feel about
you're
NASCAR.
saying to
I'm
me
trying to
that if
give you a thing to understand about me. That's all.
Right, but if some guy
You're not
is
going to
coming
sell me
down
on basketball.
full court and like leaps from center court and like flies like Superman and dunks a ball, you're not impressed? You don't go, God damn it, how did he do that?
No, it's just somebody bouncing around.
You're a fucking weirdo.
Even I have to agree with Brendan on this one. I hate sports.
Plus, I've never seen anybody go from the center court and get a ball in.
Okay, I'm exaggerating, but
Now,
you
if they
get
did
my
that,
point.
they would have like some kind of anti-gravity belt in on their.
I've seen guys go from the free throw line, which is not that far off.
I can appreciate athletes. I can appreciate the guys in NASCAR. I can appreciate that they're good at what they do. It's not that appealing to me. It just seems the same. And that's what I meant by saying NASCAR and basketball are pretty much the same. And
But
a lot
I'm
of those
saying
team
is,
sports are the same to me because they're going round and round in circles. Sure, there's lots of interesting things they can do in the middle, but in basketball, you know what they're doing? They're going and they're putting a ball in one hoop, and they're going to the other side of the thing, putting a ball in another hoop. They're going back and putting a ball in another hoop, back in another hoop, and it's like with football, it's going one end of the yard, back to the other end of the yard, another end of the yard. It's like, okay, that's what
So
they
you
do.
admire their skill, but it's not
They're
entertaining
good at
to
what
you.
they do, right? Exactly.
You're not
That's-
entertained
Right,
by
I'm-
it,
yeah.
but you admire their
That's-
skill.
Yeah, I
All
think
I'm
they're good at
saying
what they
is
do, just
to
like the
just-
NASCAR guys.
Just to differentiate,
Just
the
tedious.
visible skill involved in basketball or football is more visible than it is in NASCAR. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
NASCAR, those guys are probably super talented, but you don't see it. They're just cars going around. The guy that steals the ball and then throws it, down court out of the back of his hand and makes the basket, you see that. You can appreciate that. The NASCAR talent is much more subtle, if you wanted
Yeah.
to call it that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're not seeing full body athleticism from NASCAR guys.
Right.
Obviously,
And yet
it's
neither
just
are entertaining to some people.
right. Exactly.
What about skateboarding or like extreme sports? Like,
It's
no?
Yeah, it's just whatever.
Jesus, what the fuck happened to you as a child? Didn't you play football as a kid?
I played football. I used to play racquetball a lot. I played many sports. I was
I like racquetball.
I was
That's a good one.
I was a varsity athlete in school, but that didn't mean that I was like a big fan of watching it.
Yeah.
you know?
That's why I think performing sports isn't an entertainment necessarily. It's beyond that. It's like you're physically doing physical activity. You're actually doing something. Like entertainment to me.
Well,
which I
if you're in
thought-
the middle of an athletic event and you're participating in it, you can
Yeah.
get entertained by the other.
No, it's
people
fun.
who are- I'm saying you can be entertained. You can get entertainment
Yeah.
from the other people who are performing it with you. There is
Yeah.
entertainment there at the same time.
Yeah.
You know?
I think maybe there's a difference between having fun and being entertained. Like having fun, you can do these things. Like a clown could be having fun being a clown, but he's not like mindlessly being entertained, or not even mindlessly. Sorry, I use that word again.
Yeah,
Um,
be sorry. Be very
Passively
sorry.
being entertained. I thought we were going to talk about, sorry, clients, like, and people watching entertainments, like basically things that take you away from your life. Being in a sport team isn't taking away from your life. That's part of your life. That can be a huge part of your life if
Right.
you love
Right.
playing
I think,
racquetball.
I think we should focus on what shit entertainment is. And I'd like to open the discussion with reality TV shows are probably the biggest piece of shit that has ever been fostered onto the human culture.
I
Okay.
gotta
Tell me
say
I'm wrong.
though, can I defend them for a
Well,
second?
no, you can let him say. Well, I want him to say why he feels that way.
Oh,
Why do you feel that way,
okay.
Brendan? Yeah.
Because watching a train wreck of human experience and drawing emotion from watching people who are obviously, in many cases, mentally ill or fucked up is sad. That's like going over to your neighbor's house and watching him beat his wife and finding entertainment in it. Maybe not that dramatic, but pretty goddamn close.
So you're saying that reality television is the same as people doing physical abuse of their family?
I think that reality TV celebrates the lowest common denominator of the human spirit and puts it on display for people because it's titillating and it gets good ratings because people like to watch that kind of shit. And I think it's garbage, and I think it's lowered the intellectual capacity of this country.
Do you think it's a lot of people watch this also to feel better about how they are? Like, wow, look at this piece of shit. I'm not that bad. I'm not the best guy, but
Greg, you're absolutely right.
The real world.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. People watch that and go, I'm not that fucked up. Those people are fucked up. Yeah. I'm not that. I may be fucked up, but I'm not that fucked up. And that's terrible.
Like the Hoarders show. Like, how is that entertainment? It's a hugely popular show, Hoarders. I think it's in its 10th season or whatever. And
it's sad.
That's just watching sad, really psychologically damaged people. You're basically, it's like going to a mental home to be like, look at those guys.
Look at those fucking lunatics. Yeah, it's sad. Hoarders, I had a next door neighbor when I was a kid who was a hoarder, and I've discovered their dead body in the middle of their hoarded shit. So the idea of watching a show about hoarders or watching their kids come and fucking tear their world apart because they're starting to dump their shit, which should have been done, to watch that on TV is like, it's like watching somebody get raped.
Whoa, that was strong.
Matt asked me to explain my viewpoint, so I thought
I get it. But I'd like to say, though, I'm putting on my defense lawyer hat now, is that reality TV doesn't have to be this way. It's just that we're so dumb and venal. The first reality TV show was that 70s PBS documentary where they went to a family's house and just watched how they lived, and every 7 years they'd come back. The Loud Family. I can't remember the exact name of the show. It was a great, basically, documentary, but it's a reality show. I mean, basically, reality shows are documentaries, even though they're all scripted and bullshit, a lot of them.
Right.
But they can be great. Like, I don't know if you guys remember Morgan Spurlock, the guy who did Super Size Me. He had a reality show where every week he walked in someone else's shoes, basically, walking in another man's moccasins. And one week, he lived as a minimum wage person and saw how hard it was. It was very enlightening, very educational. Then he had like different people living together and from totally different situations and see how they get along. It was great TV. I mean, edifying, educational, amazing.
Yeah,
reality TV could be that, but it's not for the most part.
Right. I guess when I say reality television, I'm not.
No, I know what you mean. It's for the majority.
Documentaries or, peering inside the life of somebody and learning something about it. I'm talking these shows that, make a mockery of these obviously dysfunctional people's lives and offer that up as entertainment.
The Real World model, where the worse you behaved, the bigger you'd be on the show.
The Kardashians.
Yeah, and that started the whole thing, though.
The True Wives of whatever the fuck.
Windsor.
What?
I said The True Wives of Windsor. I think that's
the True Wives of Windsor. The True.
Is that a real reality show?
No.
Whatever the hell it is.
They go into the.
Wasn't there a Shakespearean play called The Merry Wives of Windsor?
Yeah. I literally don't know what's going on, so I thought there actually was a reality show in the royal halls of England.
I mean, it would.
That would be amazing.
I mean, the whole thing with Prince, is it Andrew and Meghan or what? The people that that's a reality show. It's a reality TV show. It's just no one syndicated it.
Yeah.
That they would if they had the opportunity. Well, this is what I enjoy about having Brendan on here, right? Is he's very vocal with his point of view, and he shows that he's not dead inside like you and I are, Greg. So
yes,
he still has passion.
He's a passionate man.
Yes, he has passion in there. He's got
but let's talk about good entertainment.
Whereas I'm I'll take a lowest common denominator. I'll watch them do these things to each other.
Let's take good entertainment. Like when I was in high school, I read 1984. That changed my worldview. Made me think about. Changed my political view forever. And I still refer back to it sometimes. I think, that politician, I know what he's talking about. There's some really educational stuff you can learn from entertainment and great films I've seen where I was like, so some people feel this way, I guess.
Well, that's, I think, when you get edutainment. right?
Well,
Where it's
it's just
education and entertainment combined,
it's
which
just
is what
great.
a lot of documentaries are.
But 1984 is just a great entertainment. It's a really entertaining novel. I've read it like 5 times in my life. I just pick it up. I can't stop reading it. It's very sorry, I almost said educational. It's very entertaining. It's very entertaining, but it also like teaches you all these things that like really hard truths about this is how politics work and how language works and control and there's great entertainment out there. I just think people don't care.
Well,
you know
obviously, entertainment is a spectrum, right?
exactly.
It's got
Yeah,
Sure.
very high quality entertainment and very low quality entertainment. Again, one end of the spectrum you've got dogfighting and what have you, and then the other end of the spectrum you have things that you gain in tremendous insight from and revelations that you were not expecting, whether it's from a movie or TV or from books or from some
a cockfight.
a speaker that you went. Yes, they get grand philosophical discussion from a cockfight. So it comes along all those different categories. So at what point does it become bad for you, though? When does entertainment become bad for you? When it's giving you incorrect information? When it's appealing to your baser instincts? Is that when it's bad for you? When is entertainment actually
I
bad?
think even great entertainment could be bad for you if you're like avoiding your own life, like dealing with things you need to deal with because you're like, even if you're watching all art films, it's like, oh, I have to watch 7 art films a day, and
Or all you do is
you're
go to
not thinking
shopping
about
festivals.
whatever those are, the
Yes.
nebulous shopping festivals. But like even the highest entertainment, if you just you're immersed in it, it's like it's almost like being in Plato's cave. It's like you're ignoring the real reality. That's you have to deal with stuff in life. You got to take time and deal with your life and try to make it better. And if you're just watching art films, you might be learning some truths about humanity, but you're still not really dealing with your own life. And just like drugs or alcohol, like LSD is fun, but if you take it every day, your life's probably going to not be that great, and
There'll
you're going
be
to
a little
be
bit a head mush going on
a lot exactly.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to do that more than a couple of years anyway. But no,
every
I
day.
agree. Yeah, I agree with. Well, yeah, because you have to. If you take one hit on Monday, it's 2 on Tuesday, and 4. It's a doubling effect.
Oh,
Yeah,
So if you go a whole week, the amount of strychnine and shit and just nasty cutting chemicals that go into that, you're getting an ulcer at 18. But
nice.
that's not what it. But too much entertainment, whether it's good or it's bad, is what's bad. I agree with Greg in that
yeah.
if you're watching all of the greatest documentaries in history for hours and hours and hours, you're no better than somebody who's watching the Housewives of Beverly Hills for 30 minutes a week.
No, you're a little better. I'm sorry.
Okay. I came on so strong about that, the reality.
At least you're learning something.
I needed to pull
Well,
it back.
I've learned that watching reality TV is like rape. That's what I've learned. So now that's what the takeaway I've got from this particular.
I thought it was interesting that in your list that you put circuses on. Aren't those gone? Or are circuses even like Ringling Brothers
again,
being shot down?
Cirque du Soleil is a circus.
It's ballet.
They just don't have.
They just call it cirque.
It'd be closer to gymnastics than ballet.
Yeah.
But it's still a circus. Right. They've got rings. They're under a big top.
It's
not. Just don't have animals.
Yeah, circus is a big. I think the last time I went to an actual circus, must have been maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, I've been to one sooner than that. It was during while my kids were young. But it wasn't 20 years ago. It was like probably in the last 15, maybe.
Maybe 15. I mean, I'm trying to remember how old.
They're pretty dead though, right now.
My
kids are not dead. My kids are alive.
No, the circus.
My two oldest, Matt, were definitely smaller children. I just don't remember how old they were, but I remember
Did they like
going.
it?
I think so.
I
They
was kind of
liked.
bored when I went as a kid. I was just like, I wish I was home watching Happy Days right now. That's what
There
I
was
felt.
there was one part of it where you got to feed a giraffe,
Oh, that sounds fun.
and I remember them enjoying that. There was a freak show tent, which had a
Wow.
I don't think I've ever been to one with a freak show.
yeah no well it's Florida.
Oh
It
yeah,
had like a
Oh.
it's the
human
law.
mermaid or something, and I think
Instead of those
my
penguin mermaids,
some I didn't go in because it was like
it's a human mermaid.
yeah,
Was it just a paraplegic woman?
I
Yeah,
don't
actually,
know.
that makes me think though. It's like, why is it that mermaids have to be half human, half fish? Why can't they be some other species and half fish? Why couldn't it be like half penguin and half fish? Why couldn't it be half
Half tomato?
alligator? Is a tomato a species? I guess it
Is
is.
it, aren't there
Well,
plant
it's
Well,
species?
it's
because
not an animal. I was thinking of another animal, Greg. It's like if
Oh,
it
an
was a
animal
tomato
species.
if a tomato came to life, possibly that would make sense. It's but what
because if
but
it
if you have
was a
vegetable mermaids, so it's like half tomato, half pear, or
Half
something like
seaweed.
that,
if it
right?
was a
Half
if it was a
seaweed.
fish penguin, it would be a merguin
A merkin.
And that's actually Greg's new nickname. He is a
Merwin.
merwin,
or mermaido.
mermaido.
I'm a merman. Thank you very much. Merman.
You're a merman, like
So I
Ethel.
think
Ethel Merman.
circuses are done. If they weren't done
Yeah.
10 years ago, they're definitely done
No,
now.
they're done. Ringling Brothers went out of business. I mean, they were like the Chrysler Motors of circuses.
Yeah.
Ringling went out of
Wow.
business.
That's how old I am. Yeah, a long time, 8 years ago, it was a big story on
Yeah,
the
I'm pretty
internet.
sure they're
Everyone was
that's
talking about like, oh, what a sad day, and it was like nobody's gone to a circus in 10 years. Who gives a fuck?
Oh
But
wow, yeah,
every
it went out in 2017. I had
yeah,
no
oh,
idea.
just 2017. Yeah, every AP
Yeah.
Newswire had a story about it. Like, oh, a great thing has passed from America, and it's like, yeah, but who's gone to a circus since they were like 4? You know what I mean? It's a dead thing. It has been for a long time.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still other circuses going around.
Ah, there's nobody.
Yeah,
I'm
there
curious.
wasn't Clyde Beatty Circus. Isn't that still going around?
Really? Could
Yeah,
be.
and there's like a Mexican circus that has come around here before.
Huh.
I can't remember the name of it, but yeah,
we
I
don't
think I
have
remember. But I was really surprised to find out about that. Wow, I learned something today.
now.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any sort of. I mean, we have the state fair that happens every year. That's kind of a circus to an extent. Um, I haven't even seen. I remember as a kid. You remember like I think Greg alluded to this, where these like carny people would just show up on the outskirts of town and set up these death trap rides, and it was all super sketchy. And you went there. Does anybody remember that? I remember that as a kid
You
growing up.
you
Like,
mean the grifters?
yeah, those grifter people.
Yeah,
I
all the
remember
booths
that.
were grifters.
I
It
don't
was
think
all a
that
grift.
exists anymore. I think that's
Really?
gone.
What, carnivals?
I don't know
Yeah.
about that. I think they still exist. I think they're still selling cotton candy and corn dogs and having shitty rides. I think that's still a thing.
I don't know, man. I haven't seen one. Maybe I haven't been looking.
Well, I live in a big city. I'm sure, like, if you lived in the country, they're
Maybe.
probably still going.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe if you're out in the middle of the boondocks in Nebraska, that shit is still that and serial killers is still a thing.
Wonder if you could do
Yeah.
like serial killers in a circus, and if that would be a viable form of entertainment.
Oh, here comes the
I'd
sober
watch
drunk
it.
guy again.
What? What?
Spinning
Just an
off
idea.
It's a
Just an
crazy idea.
Greg.
That's even I'm drunk, so drunk right now. I never would have said that idea.
No, like a carnival kind of circus that went from town to town, and one of the main characters in the circus is a serial killer. Oh, that could be a great
That's a Netflix show.
TV
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I think it is a Netflix show. Actually, wasn't that like the definition of? I mean, not the definition, but one of the seasons of American Horror Story was.
I think so.
There was a
Carnival.
clown serial killer, and yeah, it was It was very a freaky season, but it was like circus related. Yeah, I looked it up.
Yeah.
Cirque du Soleil is definitely a circus. They have circus performers, and they start. I didn't know they started as a street performing group of people from Canada, and then they just became this big thing after time. But yeah, they're
Are they from Quebec?
yes, Montreal.
Okay. I just was curious if they were putting on areas by making it French sounding.
No, I think it's because they just don't know English at all. That's why they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
didn't
like
mute yourself on that,
Haagen-Dazs.
Greg. I heard that slurp.
I heard that too. I didn't mean to do a slurp. I didn't think that would go. I would have muted if I knew.
Anyway, so if entertainment is bad for you, what's good for you?
Whatever is good for you. I mean, it's different for
It's like
everyone. But, you know.
only aspirin is good for you.
No, it's just like doing things that are like, I don't know, the normal things of life. Hanging out with friends, loving your wife, spending time with your kids. I don't know, educating yourself.
Exercise.
Is any of that entertainment?
Fresh air.
It's entertaining. It's fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fun. I mean, I like hanging out with little kids, and I never want to have one.
Shouldn't we
Sometimes
just
they're
have
very fun.
Shouldn't we just have the daily grind all the time? Shouldn't we just be working, have no form of entertainment whatsoever?
No, that would be horrible.
No, I can tell
if
you.
you got used to it, if it was something that it was your thing, you never had that outlet. What do you think? What do you think would happen if there was no entertainment, Greg?
The thing is, on that point, I've worked. I work a lot, so it's not a good way to go.
Yeah.
There's no joy in that.
So your outlet is basketball, Brendan?
No, not really. I don't watch a lot of basketball. I watch football.
Okay. Where they jump from the 50-yard line through the
No.
Whatever those things are called.
100-yard basketball.
I can't even remember the things at the end of the.
You know what? I'm not gonna.
The touchdown things.
The net.
I have to go out of my way.
The football net.
I have to go out of my way to watch sports because we don't have cable. So I'll go the extra effort to watch my Seahawks, and that's about all the sports I do.
Wait, you don't have to have cable to watch sports, though. You could.
Yes, you do.
Do you have internet, right? You have Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
All right. So if you had like a Roku or something like that for streaming purposes, you could get.
You have to have cable in order for that to. Trust me, Matt. I've been through this. The only way you can watch the NFL on the internet is to use a hacked site that broadcasts illegally pirated.
Well, I don't know about the NFL, but I know that ESPN has a Roku channel, and you could subscribe to that through Roku without having cable.
But the problem is, if you want, obviously, because I'm interested in this, I consider myself to be far more expert on the subject of watching the NFL than you. So let me tell you. You said
specifically NFL. I'm talking about the Roku, and I'm very expert at Roku.
Okay, well, I'm talking about watching NFL football games. Those games are licensed to major broadcasters, Fox, NBC, ABC, whomever.
Right.
The only thing that you can watch streaming without hacking some shit is you can watch Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime if you're a Prime member. That's it.
Okay. Well, then you found a way.
You don't have network TV?
But I don't want to watch whoever the fuck is playing on Thursday night. I want to watch my team. I want to watch the Seahawks. And to all of you Portland people listening, go Hawks.
Portland.
I agree.
People care about the Seahawks.
Yeah, they should. I mean, what other fucking team do they have? The Broncos?
Do they need to have a team?
Yes, they should. If they're real people.
Is that a real bird, a Seahawk? Is there a bird called a Seahawk?
Yeah,
you look at a hawk and you tell somebody else, you go, see? Hawk.
Oh, God.
It's actually, I think technically it's an osprey, but they call it a Seahawk.
Except they don't use the actual look of the bird on their helmets. It's some Native American cultural appropriation they have on the side of the helmets.
Yeah, let's ban it. Let's
All I
make
know is
them
that I
change
really
their
like
name.
the eye squint that Brendan gave me just now with that comment.
Yeah, that's why we have the Washington football team now.
I love that name. I totally love that name. More so than the Redskins ever attracted me. I just love the name Washington Football Team, and I really want all sports teams to call themselves that now. I want the Cincinnati football team, the Cincinnati baseball team. I just want them all to just be, and they all only have white shirts with black letters.
Or just sports ball,
Okay.
even call
You
it.
know what, Matt? You don't get to have an opinion on the subject. So thank you very much.
So you're making a ruling, is what you're saying? Is that I'm
Yeah.
not allowed to have any express any opinion?
Gag the
No.
client, gag the lawyer right now.
Yep. You're done.
I don't know. I think I really like the idea of white shirts with black letters for all sports teams, and then they just say we are team on
Why do
them.
they have to be white, Matt?
What's that?
Why do they have to be white shirts?
Because of the fact that there's those beer cans that are white and they say with black letters beer on them, and so it'd be similar to that.
Generic.
Right, very generic. All teams should be generic. They should.
Sports ball team.
I mean, I even have an issue just associating with the city at all. I think they should just have like teams. You don't know where they're from. You don't know who they're associated with, and they're just playing the game with each other. And it should be that generic.
Socialist.
Not even socialist. Beyond, it's
makes-
utopian, Greg.
That makes no sense
That's
at all.
true.
And it's completely stupid. But thank you for sharing your opinion.
Do you think sports is like
Why,
a thing
why
where
does
it is
sports
like,
have to be associated with a city or a town or anything? Why
yeah,
do
it
they
kind
have
of
to be?
divides people. It makes people be like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, it's
You
like
this team.
what morons care what town the frickin' the ball team is from? I mean, you got to be an idiot to want to be behind that. You got to be one of the stupider people to really think that it coming from a city makes it any different from any other team. You know,
I had a
it's
friend
it's
who
the
was a
talent
sports
that
fan,
differentiates them. It's not the town.
and they're not from that city.
No, I'm not going to let you get away with that, especially since you haven't defended your love of reality TV shows after I blasted you. So maybe this is a weird way of coming back on me. But the fact is, yeah, people have a sense of identity. You guys identify with Portland. You don't go like, I could be anywhere. I live anywhere. No, you guys
I could.
totally
I don't identify with Portland.
No, you don't.
Yes. I don't identify with Portland. It's quite true.
Well,
I live here.
you're just
You don't even live
Zen
in Portland,
master,
Matt.
I live
Please
here
ex-
in the Portland area, but I don't
In the
identify.
Portland area.
explain
Matter of fact,
to
I
me-
prefer not having Portland on my address. I prefer, something else.
And why is that?
Because I think it's just some type of people like to have it on their address because it's the bigger city in town, and I think you just put where you live.
But why should anyone identify with anything?
I
That
don't know.
seems to be the point you're arguing.
Why should anybody identify with anything?
No, don't turn it around on
town?
me. Don't use high
No, I
school.
think
debates
I'm
and
just
shit.
saying it's a legitimate question. I don't know. I don't
But
have
you didn't
I don't have a
answer
good
my
reason.
question.
But I don't have a
Okay.
good reason for why.
Can I just say that Matt is
But
maybe
you just
saying,
argued the point that why should football teams identify with a city?
Right.
And
I
who
was
gives a
agreeing
shit?
with your statement. It's like I don't know why they should identify with anything. I don't know you should identify with anything. I think
Well,
it
why?
helps. The only reason you should identify anything is getting your mail. I think that's the only thing that really helps you in terms of
do you
identifying
think that
with
it's
an
a
area.
matter of tribalism? Is it maybe, Matt, you feel like, oh, yeah, like, why do we need this tribalism of, like, Boston hates New York because the
Yeah,
Yankees
it's
Red Sox
ridiculous.
feud?
It's like, why do these feuds have to exist?
Did I tell
No.
you guys a story? I might have before, but I once wore a T-shirt that said something like, it was a Boston Red Sox shirt, and it said, I support the Red Sox or whoever beats the Yankees. Like a cute little slogan.
Yeah.
And my friend gave it to me. I wear any T-shirt anyone gives me, as long as it's not a swastika. And I wore it in New York City one day. And my friend was like, Greg, you can't wear that. And I'm like, Luke, shut up. That's whatever. Are you serious? Because it was a big shirt that fit my fat body, so it was comfortable. So I want to wear it. So as soon as we got out of his house, walked down the street 10 feet, some guy actually was just like, yo, what the fuck? And luckily, I diffused it just by saying, dude, I don't even like sports. Just a T-shirt someone gave me. And they were like, okay. Like, he was ready to start a fight with me because I had this T-shirt with a funny slogan on it about the Boston Red Sox.
Right. People
It
get
was
very
crazy to
territorial.
me.
Yeah, people are
Yeah.
very territorial about things. You know, I think it's one
And
of
look at the
the.
Well,
soccer
I mean,
hooligans, the football hooligans in England. They like
that's
full scale
also that's
riots.
also the Northeast, and that's the Yankees, Red Sox,
Yeah,
and that's a storied hatred thing
Yeah,
that
but it's
exactly.
like
everybody just buys
Washington
it.
Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys. There's that as
Right,
well. You know,
right.
like people
Yeah.
get very territorial about these things, and so that goes back to it's like why should anybody identify with anything like that? Because that creates divisions, right? That creates those hatreds because people really like this thing and they think that you should not like it at all. You know, I mean, I
But
understand the need for certain subdivisions because you want to create teamwork in creating in achieving a particular goal. But whenever it starts creating divisiveness, it's no longer about teamwork anymore. It's about being divisive, you know, and I don't
And
think
Brendan, could I
that
ask you,
works.
as a sports guy, like if I'm not mistaken, like for example, the '90s Chicago Bulls. I don't think Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Steve Kerr. I know Steve Kerr wasn't from Chicago. They're not even from that city. It's not like they're
no,
like hometown heroes. Local
no.
kids make good. You know what I mean? So like you're cheering these guys on. They're not even from your city. They're just living there because they happen to be on your
Yeah,
sports
but
team.
they're representing your city.
True that.
So,
True that.
so
But
that
they're not. It's not like, oh yeah, this is our buddy, this is our dude from Chicago or from whatever city. Like
well, it's because if they lived next door to them, they didn't know who they were. They would probably not talk to them like most people don't talk to their neighbors.
that's true,
You know,
unless they
which
were
is the
basketball
other weird
stars.
thing about it. It's like most people don't really talk to their neighbors. So why are you suddenly like all for this group of people who you probably wouldn't talk to if they lived near you? Except if you knew that they were famous, then you would go talk to them.
Hey Brendan, do you know that I was in Steve Kerr's house once? I went to a party at Steve Kerr's house when
You
he
keep
lived in
saying this
Tucson.
guy's name, and I don't even know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you don't. I bet Brendan does though.
Who's this
Hmm.
Steve
He's
Kerr?
become a great coach, apparently.
It's like a dog fighting, a Kerr, C-U-R.
Kerr.
Oh,
Yep, KERR. Anyway,
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
not, let's not talk about Steve Kerr because we're going to talk about dogfighting. But the point is,
Wait, he's a dogfighting guy?
no, he's not a
He's a
dogfighting
No,
guy.
he's a
Kerr.
great guy.
He's a
He's a good
Kerr,
guy.
Greg. You just said he's a Kerr.
I met the guy. He's a good guy. He's a really nice
Maybe
guy.
you're missing the pun on the name Kerr, the homophone.
I'm not missing it.
Okay.
I thought he
No one's
really.
missing it,
There
Matt.
are
You don't need to
sports guys.
explain
Dodging
it
it.
to
You're
us.
just dodging
There are
it.
sports
Okay, got it.
guys who have dogfighting things. That's a thing in
Yeah,
professional sports. So I was
Yes,
worried.
there's one
That
for
one.
sure.
yeah. That one guy.
You
Vapor
cur.
Vapor
You're
Rub.
acting like a cur right now, Matt.
To an extent. I'm having fun with the button pushing today. Anyway, so entertainment is bad whenever you create divisiveness amongst friends who are part of the same podcast.
Or
Yeah,
if
I
you
don't give a
totally
shit.
ignore entertainment for three-fourths of the podcast. This is the worst we've ever done for a client. God, we barely talked about entertainment today.
Well, I think
I think we're
part of
all
the
over
problem.
entertainment.
I think
Go
part of
ahead.
the problem is we have to define what it is we're talking about. And so we've said that all entertainment is bad, which I think we've argued that that's not the case
No.
necessarily. But too much of any entertainment, no matter what it is, whether it's football or reality TV or pornography or whatever, too much of anything is a bad thing. Too much salt is a bad thing.
Yeah, I think for most of our clients, it's all generally flippant in terms of the title of the clients. Anyway, it's
That's for sure.
more for the purpose of getting people's attention and to make it more engaging of a topic as opposed to some rote topic to talk about that everyone else has talked about. So if we say entertainment is bad for you, well, we have to defend that to a slight extent, and then we can go wherever the hell we want.
But I would like to say that entertainment, just like alcohol, as I've previously defended my use of alcohol, it's necessary because this world sucks, and sometimes you got to escape.
But
It's like
alcohol is not necessary.
it's unnecessary to my mental state or some people's mental state. It is because sometimes you just want to check out. Like things are so shitty in the world.
Mhm.
The world's a mess.
So for
It's
you,
like,
alcohol is entertainment.
no, it's escape. Just like entertainment can be. You know, you can watch Star Wars movies and totally forget about, oh wow, everything sucks in my life. You can just forget about it. Or I could read comic books and forget
So
about the
entertainment,
problems.
like alcohol, is an escape. In other words, you use them for
It's an
certain
escape, yeah.
purposes. It's designed to take you away from looking at things. It's not something that's just
Yeah,
done
it
to
is.
shouldn't it be more to enhance your life
It
as
should
opposed
be.
to escaping from your life?
That's ideal. I
Okay.
mean, you can actually have enhancing literature or films or whatever that actually enhance you, but they also like take you away from your immediate problems. Like I can't think my way out of this problem, no matter how sober I was, or if I really just sat down and thought about it. It's just inescapable. Like, oh, this woman doesn't love me. She never will. I could sit here and cry, or I could escape and just read a stupid comic book and be like, oh, I'm lost in this, immersed in this world for an hour. I don't have to think about the sadness of life. And
So that's your purpose for entertainment is escape.
a lot, sometimes, a lot of
Okay.
times, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't think I've ever really used it that way. To escape
Really?
Really?
things. Yeah.
Are you
Wow,
serious?
Not to
Matt
escape.
is like the guru. He's never used entertainment for
To
escape.
escape.
You've
No,
never.
I've used it for entertainment, but not to get away from something.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
You are
You're
like
you're in some serious stages of denial, my friend.
you're like
I
Buddha.
think denial is entertaining. Anyway,
Yeah, maybe.
listen, I am willing to go under the heading of delusional. It's totally okay. I'm willing to accept that. If that entertains you, Brendan, then it's totally okay.
It doesn't entertain me. The idea that you have this concept of your own self,
Yeah.
that you experience no suffering in this life, and that the only when you look for entertainment, you're only looking for it from a purely logical perspective of I want to be entertained. That there isn't a shadow of escaping the horrid reality that is existence
See,
in your
that's
life.
that's where the delusion comes in because I don't feel suffering. I don't feel like I have
Then
suffering.
you're not a human being. You're a fucking robot.
So you open up the hatch, there's just circuitry and wires in there.
I'm happy that's kind of what you've decided that your whatever is, but I mean suffering. Maybe that's the wrong word.
Okay.
Maybe that's strong.
None of
But
us are suffering.
well,
But there's existential angst and like
there's
sometimes you
a
just think,
certain amount of whatever you this happens, that happens in your life, and it's frustrating or it's upsetting or whatever you want to call that. That is inherently some level of spectrum of suffering,
Uh-huh.
and it's usually caused by your own mind, obviously.
Yeah.
But to say that that doesn't exist in your life and that you don't ever sit down to watch whatever or read whatever to just turn the monkey brain off for a second and get enwrapped in a fiction story or a reality TV show or a sports game or whatever it is, that's a little hard for me to believe, Matt.
Well, I'm not asking you to believe anything I'm
I
telling
concur
you.
with my colleague Brendan.
I'm not asking you to believe anything I'm telling you. All I can tell you is that I don't feel a need to escape from anything in my life. I just
Okay,
don't.
so then
I just don't feel that.
You're delusional. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what works for you to make it understandable, for
Can I
me,
tell
it's
you a
just
story? Oh, sorry.
To make
Matt,
it understandable.
yeah. I mean, if
That
that's what
somehow
helps you
wait
done.
a minute. Somehow you have transcended, Matt. You have transcended the human experience. That's what you're
This
suggesting.
is the human. This is part of the human experience.
And that
It's
there
not like
is-
I've transcended anything. It's just that's how I feel.
No,
That's just
no.
how I feel, Brendan. But if you want to
Okay.
feel for me, I'll give you that. Okay.
that's Matt's human experience.
You can
He's just
feel
happy,
for
happy,
me.
joy guy all the time.
No, he's
He's
not.
a
Am I?
Pollyanna.
No, he's not. We've been on multiple podcasts where he's talked about how, and I don't have any friends, but I don't care if I have any friends, but I want to talk about the fact that I don't have any friends.
I haven't
Come
been
on.
sad about not having friends.
Oh, I know you're not sad about not having friends. It's sort of a.
So there's no suffering by not having friends. It's like, let me see if I can make it more clear. So I feel
Please.
that most of my life is essentially under my control. And even those things that are not under my control, I feel I can get them under control, whatever they happen to be. If a major issue comes up, something that devastated everything, like the house blew down, everyone
tornado.
died, something like that happened, I still wouldn't feel like this suffering thing was happening to me. it would be a bad thing, it would be a horrible thing, but I wouldn't feel like it was something that was eating away at my insides or something that I needed to escape from. It would just be one more thing that I would have to address and solve. And that's how I look at it. I don't look at it as I need to get away from it. I look at it as it's one thing. For me, entertainment is life. Life is my entertainment. What I exist in is my entertainment. Being with you guys, talking to you guys, being with family, dealing with people in general, for me, is entertainment. That's how I look at it. And I don't feel like any of it is a horrible thing. I mean, some things obviously are horrible. I mean, you deal with genocide, you deal with horrible things happening to children. It's bad, bad things. But
Okay.
but it's not something that's directly causing me to feel um, unable to address or unable to deal with. I feel like I can deal with anything that comes my way, even if I don't have the capacity at that time to actually deal with it. I feel like I can get that capacity when I need it. And so
Okay.
hopefully that will clear up that delusion for you in terms
So
of
let me
feeling like something needs to be escaped from. I don't feel like I need to
I get
escape
it.
from anything.
no. Okay. So let me give a different example.
Okay.
So tomorrow,
Uh-huh.
your wife is hit by a fucking truck and is
Okay.
dead.
Yes.
You're telling me that you're just going to not have to deal with the negative emotions of that you're just going to accept that that's just the way life is, and you're just going to soldier forward and exist in life without having any kind of emotional upset, that it may be good for you to go fucking have a drink and escape from that emotion for just a moment. You're telling me that's not
I
that's
think
not
I
a thing.
think it's a different perception of it, a different perspective of it in terms of
Uh-huh.
there would be grief. I'm not saying that would be emotionless. I'm not saying that I don't have emotions. I
Right.
have emotions. I'm
Of
just
course.
saying that it wouldn't be something that I would feel the need to escape. It would be something that I would experience and I would accept the experience of because it's what's happening to me. How could I deny it? I would go through it. I
Well,
would
I'm
go
not
through
saying
the
to deny
grief.
it.
Well, escaping is kind of like a denial of the issue. You know,
No,
it's like you're trying
no,
to
it's
get away
not.
from the
I
thing. You're
think
not actually handling it.
I
I
think it's the
think I
pause
think we've hit
button
I think we've
on
hit
an
on the
issue.
primary difference between our viewpoints is
Okay.
that you're associating escape with denial. I'm not associating escape with denial. I'm associating escape with a relief from whatever is happening. It doesn't mean it goes away, but
Uh-huh.
it's just a momentary whatever. Get away from it for a second, recalibrate, and then come back. You're suggesting that escape is denial. That's not what I'm
I
saying.
think it is because I don't think you can ever get away from it. I don't think you can ever escape it. It's going to be there. There's nothing you
Well,
can do
no, you
about.
can never. I mean, ultimately,
Right.
in
So
the
that's where the denial comes
Nietzsche
in.
sense of the word, you
Yeah.
can never fully escape from anything, for sure. But you can get a moment of solace for a second.
You can get solace while you're in the middle of it. It's not
Okay, whatever.
escaping. You're not
All right,
getting away from it.
I got it. I
You're
got your
still
viewpoint.
I
experiencing
think
it.
it's
You can
semantics,
experience
guys.
them all. Well, it's definitely semantics.
Yeah, yeah.
You can experience them all while also experiencing entertainment. You can have them at the same time. This
Yeah.
doesn't have to be the exclusion of one or the other. You can,
Exclusion of one or the other, or what?
in other words, you don't have to get away from the thing because the thing will be with you. But you can have entertainment while you're still going through your suffering, as you
But
stated.
it's dulled a little. While you're
I
watching
think you're just
entertainment, you're
not
not
being. I just
focused on
think
it.
you're not being honest, Matt.
Well,
But that's okay.
I think you're not understanding, but you're
No,
entitled to
I
your
am
opinion too.
completely understanding. You're
I think Matt's
saying
Well,
being
if you're
totally
saying that I'm
honest.
not being honest, then you're not understanding.
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty simple.
Okay, this
Anyway,
might be enlightening.
but
When I was
I
a
think at this point though, I'm sorry, Greg. Go ahead,
I
say
was
your
going to say
piece.
this might be enlightening. I don't know. When I was a depressed youngster, which basically till I was like 26, I was a pathetic sad sack. I'd be crying every night. And I used to buy comics every week, the new comic day. And the comics that I knew that I really loved, like, oh, this is by a writer who always delivers the goods, I would put them at the end of the stack because I knew as night got deeper, I'd get sadder. If anyone out there is listening, if you're a depressed person, it does seem to happen as the night gets into the wee hours, you get more reflective, more sad, more depressed. And I would purposely do that because I knew this comic's going to be really good and entertaining. And I'm going to be sadder then. I would actually use it as a tool. Like I knew I would be sadder at midnight when everyone was asleep and there's no one I could hang out with. I'd be lying in bed crying, but I had this like little escape. Some great comic book by a great comic writer I knew was going to deliver the goods and entertain me and take me away to another world. Maybe that's not that enlightening to this discussion, but that's how I felt about entertainment. It was a complete, like, I have a little sucker,
What?
the old
You have a
sucker,
little sucker?
Succor.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Not an all-day sucker. I had a little sucker because I mean, thinking about the problem didn't help. I was just this depressed dumbass. I had no real reason to be depressed. It was stupid. But I could lose myself for half an hour and be like, oh, I don't have to think and be sad and crying,
Yeah.
It was nice. And
I'm not
sometimes entertainment's like
disputing
that.
that people need it and they use it.
I know that, and I get that you don't need that. I get that. You're a different person than me, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, on that note, we've come to the time when we should go away for a commercial or a PSA
yes.
or whatever else happens to be. All right, with this week, the Pizza Fund, we are currently, after we started this podcast back in June, I think 15th, we've made $6.04. We have finally broken the $6 barrier.
I can get a Domino's pizza
Right,
on those sales.
right, but I
When
think
they
we
have
need
this,
to. I think we need to get to at least $11.98 because for the Domino's thing for $5.99 you have to buy two items. So then you can get that deal.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
God damn it.
For that particular coupon.
Why are we even doing this podcast? It's fucking hopeless.
Well, we'll need. It took us like 6 months. Well, actually, not even 6 months. June, July, August.
I'm fucking starving,
So
Matt.
4 months. 4
I've
months.
been waiting to eat for 6 months. I've been waiting for this pizza.
Ladies
Look
and
at me, I'm
gentlemen,
wasting away.
Greg,
if you're listening to this
dying.
podcast, we're bordering on desperation. If
remember,
that wasn't apparent in the last 10 minutes of discussion, things are getting desperate here.
Yeah.
Please visit our Anchor FM page and donate $1, $2, whatever. Tip us. If you listen to this and you found anything of value, give us some money so poor Greg can get a pizza.
you can actually subscribe for $1 or $5 a month if you want to, but
But
we
when Matt puts this on
lost
video,
more
you'll
French.
see my fat face and you'll be like, those motherfuckers.
He's not that
doesn't need a
hungry.
pizza.
He isn't
He's not-
hungry at all.
He's eating very well.
He could have some of Matt's suet. So
I weigh
we've
like
lost.
270 pounds. I don't need a pizza, to be honest.
So we've lost more French listeners, unfortunately. So
What?
now for some demographics. So the United States, we're at 88%, and then France, we've gone down to 9%. So it's like
What
even
did we
worse.
do?
The French are they're running away. And then in the less than 1% category, we have some of the same customers: Ireland, Canada, India, Nigeria, Singapore, Germany, Ukraine, Philippines, Bangladesh, the United Kingdom. I don't think there's any new ones on there, unless Singapore's or India. I think India might be a new one. Did we have India before?
India's new. The Philippines dropped off.
No, Philippines is still here.
Oh, they still? Okay.
Yeah, they're Philippines. I said just before Bangladesh and the United Kingdom.
Okay.
And in terms of our demographics, in terms of age, we're still pretty much hitting the older women perspective, with 63% female and 68% ages 45 to 59.
Can we
So-
give a special call out to our site that has the emails? Is that French listeners? We had a significant French listenership a month ago. Could you please send us an email and say why you got tired of us? What
And
did
if
we
you
do?
could, please do it in French.
No, don't, because
No.
we're American.
Well,
Well,
my
that's
wife's-
probably the problem, Greg, is that we're American and they don't want to do it in English.
My wife speaks French. I could maybe for the next podcast maybe after the commercial break, before the pizza announcement, or maybe in the beginning, I could have her come and make a personal plea to our diminishing French audience in French. I'm sure she'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, it's like come back, French people.
Yeah,
It's
come
like
back to
we
us.
won't call them freedom fries anymore. We
No,
promise.
I won't. I won't do that silly French accent, which I don't do very well anyway.
Yeah, I understand. All right, so I think that brings us to a good pause or a good close to the show, unless there's something we're missing. I don't know if we're missing anything. Maybe we could. We'll probably do a Halloween episode next week, everybody. So
Yeah.
if you're interested, stick in. Who knows where that one's going to go? Because this one certainly went in areas I was not expecting. Um, Greg seems to have disappeared. So Brendan, it'll
Hopefully,
be up to you to decide. What pithy or profound statement we end this particular show on. What do you want it to be? I never say anything. Maybe I should come up with something.
all entertainment is not bad, but too much entertainment is bad.
Very good.